Call this council meeting to order at 6 p.m. I need a motion for adoption of minutes.
Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held at City Hall on Monday, January 9th, 2017 be adopted as circulated.
Moved by Councillor Dreger and seconded by Councillor Draycott. All those in favor? And that's carried. We have no delegations this evening. We have no hearings, so we'll move right into committee. Finance Legislative Property Committee. Councillor Buds, please.
Thank you. One item that was brought up at committee meeting last council meeting, and that was to approve our new criminal record check policy. I went through that and there was no questions, so it is a recommendation of Finance Committee, and I so move that the City of Portage Prairie approve the new criminal check policy.
Moved by Councillor Buds and seconded by Councillor Fraze. Any questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor? And that's carried.
That concludes my report. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Councillor Buds. City Planning and Economic Development. Councillor Dreger, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will have some things to say in our committee meeting, but as for this portion of council, City Planning and Economic Development has nothing to report.
Thank you. Community Services Committee. Councillor Fraze, please.
Thank you, Your Worship, but the Community Services Committee has nothing to report tonight.
Thank you. And Waterworks Committee. Councillor Wall.
Waterworks Committee has nothing to report this evening, Your Worship.
Thank you. Transportation Committee.
Thank you, Your Worship. Transportation Committee has nothing to report in the council meeting this evening.
Thank you. And Public Safety Committee. Councillor Fraze, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Public Safety Committee has nothing to report tonight either.
Okay, thank you. We have no deferred business. We do have one piece of new business, and this is finance. Councillor Buds, please.
Yes, so this is a bylaw that we're looking at approving, and it's a general and parking enforcement bylaw. So this is a bylaw that's basically a reactionary in nature to some legislation that was enacted in 2003 by the province of Manitoba, which provided an alternative for processing and resolving minor bylaw infractions, and that being the Municipal Bylaw Enforcement Act. So just in summary, the Act is created to be a simple, fair, and cost-effective system for dealing with minor bylaw infractions. So what we're doing, and such as parking tickets. So what we're doing with our municipal bylaw is dealing specifically with parking tickets. So just as a reminder, until now, anyone waiting to challenge a parking ticket was required to plead not guilty in provincial court. But effective February 6th, a complaint must be made to the municipally appointed screening officer. This screening officer will review the complaint and make a ruling, and if the applicant does not agree with the officer's ruling, they have the option to request a hearing before an adjudicator appointed by the province. And just a reminder, we, the city, would have to pay for that adjudicator. So there's no requirement to go to the province anymore in terms of provincial court. This is dealt with, parking tickets are dealt with out of court. Municipalities may use this process for bylaws other than parking tickets, but for now our municipality is saying we're just dealing with parking tickets for this. So it'll speed up the process for citizens that do have issues with parking tickets, but one can also view this a little bit, honestly, from the provincial government standpoint as another downloading of adjudication, I guess, if you will, and decisioning on things like this down to the municipal level versus dealing with it in the court system. But it is what it is, and we will be assigning a screening officer, and we'll be moving forward in this manner. So based on that, is there any questions with regards to that before I move?
Yes. Do you know if the province has appointed adjudicators in each community, or if there's one appointed here yet?
I don't have the answer to that question, Jean-Marc. I do believe the adjudicator is a standing adjudicator. The screening officer is a standing screening officer for the municipality. I'm not sure about the adjudicator process, though.
There will be a regional adjudicator. It won't be one assigned to our, well, will be one assigned to our community, but it will be assigned to several communities. So I'm not sure if that adjudicator has been named yet.
So then over and above the $25 fee that the person will pay to go before the adjudicator, will have to pay for time and mileage and so on for this adjudicator.
Potentially, if they choose to appear before the adjudicator in person, there is an ability for them to appear by phone and other electronic means as well.
Thank you.
Those details will have to be sorted out when the adjudicator is appointed.
Thank you.
I did ask the question of JM in preparation for the meeting on occasion, how many times does, the City of Portage Prairie parking tickets end up at provincial court? And I think the comment you made was about a half a dozen.
Or so.
Yeah, or so. So it's not a, there is activity, but it's certainly not a monthly activity. Any other questions before I move first reading?
Councillor Draycott, did you have a question?
I guess my question would be, are we filling this screening officer with somebody outside, or if it's very rarely that it would happen, it would be in-house and people would be expected to come to City Hall to go through screening officer, or what would that process look like?
Oh, it's actually described in the bylaw, but the process is going to be a written one. The process will be that the violator, if I can use that term, will write a reason why they feel that they shouldn't be charged, and submit that electronically or delivered in person here. The screening officer will accumulate a few of them, and once or twice a month they will review and adjudicate on the number of files that they have before them, and respond back to the violator within 2 weeks.
Okay.
And just to clarify, it is intended that that position will be, the responsibilities of the screening officer will be added to a current position here at City Hall. Yeah, it's 14 days to acknowledge the request, and 30 days to advise of the decision. So. Okay. It is a recommendation of the Finance Committee, and I so move that the Council of the City of Portage Prairie approve General and Parking Enforcement Bylaw 17-8655 by giving it first reading.
Moved by Councillor Buds and seconded by Councillor Wall. Any other questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? And that's carried.
And that concludes my new business report.
Thank you, Councillor Buds. We have no old business. So we will adjourn council at 6:08 p.m. and we'll move right into committee. Call committee to order at 6:08 p.m. First up, Finance Legislative Property Committee. Councillor Buds, please.
Thank you. There is just the second and third reading for that general and parking bylaw enforcement that I'll be looking for in next council meeting, as well as informational reports from administration, finance, and in our financial statistical information. So I encourage council to read those reports, and if there's any questions, I'm here to field them. Yeah, I was just going to say there, it looks like there's a presentation from Health and Safety Officer Scott Miller as well.
Scott, would you like to use the podium?
If I have to. Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me here. John Mark has asked me to present a safety program overview to you. Items in my presentation will address the following topics: where our safety program was in May of 2015 at my time of hire, where we are at as of December 2016, problems that I have encountered and what was done to overcome, and where we're headed in 2017. May of 2015, Adam Paletti from Safety Services Manitoba completed an OH&S assessment report for all city departments. These reports identified areas of safety deficiencies within our current health and safety management system program. Some of the items noted as an example were material safety data sheets, or what's known as MSDS, not completed or up to date for all departments, and lack of employee training for WMIS. Women's Workplace Hazardous Materials Information System. Safe work procedures needed to be reviewed and updated in some departments. Monthly fire extinguisher inspections not being done. Annual fire drills not being done. Improper fit testing. SCBA training requirements. Working at heights inventory. Smoking in the workplace. Pre-operational inspection of powered mobile equipment. And contractor safety compliance checks not being done. Where we are as of December the 31st, 2016. Our health and management system program has made some significant improvements and progress since Adam's OH&S assessment report dated January 28, 2015. Areas of significant improvement and progress include MSTS and STS have been updated within most departments and is an ongoing process. All staff, including new hires, have received training in WMIS GHS 2015. Safe work procedures have been reviewed and updated. This is an ongoing process. Monthly fire extinguisher inspections are being completed and recorded. Annual fire drills were completed in both 2015 and 2016 for all departments. The only exception was the water treatment plant, which wasn't completed in 2016. Working at heights areas have been identified and proper anchor tie-off points installed, barriers purchased, and again, this is an ongoing process. Quantitative SCBA fit testing completed in December of 2016. SCBA stands for self-contained breathing apparatus, in case somebody wanted to know that. Designated smoking areas have been established for all departments. AED units purchased together with both the arm and the city. Safety training has been completed. SCBA refresher training was completed 2015 for staff. Confined space recertification 2015. WMIS GHS for workers 2015 in 2016. First aid CPR AED recertification in 2016. Fire extinguisher training for city and PRRA that was completed in 2016. For the managers here of the city, we had a seminar put on for psychological health and safety in the workplace. It was presented by Sue Roth from Safe Work Manitoba, and that was done in 2016. Myself, since date of hire, I've completed confined space, SCBA training, first aid CPR AED recertification, psychological health and safety in the workplace, plus train the trainer for crane truck. Problems that I have encountered and what I've done to overcome. The most challenging problem which I frequently encounter is the implementation of change. This occurs when you try to introduce something that is new. People are creatures of habit, and bringing in a change for some is like throwing a wrench into the spokes of a bike. To overcome this problem, you need to have a few tools in the toolbox in order to utilize different strokes for different folks, such as baby steps, change introduced and accomplished in small increments, common sense approach. If it makes sense, then in most but not all cases, it is more easily accepted. Power of persuasion and creativity. Have to be a darn good car salesman and teacher combined. Passionate about safety gives you the drive mechanism. It's the law. When all else fails, you turn to our legislation for some backup. And the bottom line, must truly care about the well-being of others. Sounds pretty easy, doesn't it? Where are we headed for 2017? Continued safety education training for managers and employees. There is some talk about planning a seminar for psychological health and safety in the workplace for employees. Did you know that 500,000 Canadians miss work daily due to mental illness? 1 in 5 experience mental illness. $52 billion in costs each year is contributed to mental health. Mental health doesn't discriminate, so why not start the conversation? Implementing mobile equipment pre-operational inspections, bi-weekly toolbox talks, or what's known as worker education, and also implementing something called a hit list. I brought a copy of this. I only have one. You just kind of pass it around. Hit list comes from the Construction Association of Manitoba, and it's in reference to core certification. Part of my mandate when I was hired was that the city was looking to get core certified. That's what we're working towards. So as an example, the little booklet that's being passed around is a HIT list. HIT list stands for the H is hazard assessment, the I is inspection, and the T stands for toolbox talk. It's all combined on one little page for like a foreman to use. For people that don't know, Certificate of Core Recognition Program is the ultimate accreditation to verify that you have implemented a comprehensive health and safety program. This program provides industry employers with an effective safety and health management system to reduce incidents and injuries, along with associated human and financial costs. To achieve National Safety Program Accreditation, CSAM, which is the Construction Safety Association of Manitoba, practices the utmost diligence to ensure core standards are upheld. CORE uses one common audit instrument across all of Canada so that the national standard is clear. A minimum of 50% in each element of the 14 elements and an overall score of 80%. Because of the program's national standards, public and private project owners frequently use CORE as a pre-qualifier or as a condition of contract across Canada. This program is also endorsed by Manitoba Labour, Manitoba Workplace Safety and Health, Workers' Compensation Board of Manitoba, and Safe Work Manitoba. Achieving CORE is valid for 3 years, providing you maintain eligibility in the CORE program, meaning their training elements are maintained and their auditing standards are met annually. 3 courses are required, plus 3 elective courses. So the required courses to begin the CORE process certification are Principles of Safety Management, Leadership for Safety Excellence, Safety Auditor Training, and a Train the Trainer in conjunction with one of the other electives. Just so everybody is aware here tonight, I've completed all of these courses. I've got it all done in the past. And the only thing that would have to be updated, and it has to come up every 3 years, is auditor recertification. We also need a representative from senior management. Okay, it's only in Manitoba. Must attend the Principles of Safety Management course. And any other Manitoba full-time employees may take the remaining 3 courses. Manitoba Heavy Construction also offers a CORE program as another alternative. It will be something looked at into the future along in 2017. When we're ready to pursue CORE certification for the city of Portage or Prairie. This concludes my presentation. Have any questions?
Councillor Praise?
I have a question plus a comment. The question on CORE certification, would it be the city's operational crew that would be CORE certified, or the city is CORE certified?
It'd be the city. That'd be the easiest way to do it.
Then you'd see I'm familiar with it on construction sites or at factory locations, but the city would receive some signage and designation, and it would be...
Yes, the city receives signage for CORE certification that can be put up at the different facilities. CORE and the way safety programs are doing, they're starting to branch out more and more outside of the construction field and into other areas like Manitoba Heavy Construction and that.
It sounds like a good idea to me. The comment I wanted to make was that I'm very pleased to hear about the psychological safety program that you've attended and started to institute. I think it's very important. It's a new thing. And I am involved with Canadian Mental Health Association. It's really good to see that area of safety being looked at.
What I'm trying to do with my position is actually tie the PRRA, the RM, and the city together on a lot of these things. Fire extinguisher training, the psychological health. They're actually doing a program for the managers over the PRRA on Thursday, similar to what we did here last year. And then hopefully in more of a general manner, we're going to look at presenting something to the employees. And again, it's to open the conversation.
Yeah,
Lots of people are affected by mental health, but most people put their heads down and they hide it as best they can.
And we've seen lots of advances. For example, with the military and the PTSD, it's received quite a bit of publicity, and I think there are challenges in pretty much every job in terms of psychological risks. I'm glad to see you're doing this.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions for Pat? Well, Scott, I want to thank you very much for coming out this evening and for all the work you've done since you've joined us. I know you've been busy, and not just with us, but certainly the PRA and the RM. And Thank you very much for your very thorough report this evening. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me tonight.
Yes, very thorough report. Just before I conclude here, just on the financial statistics in the committee report, when perusing them, you'll see that there is quite an increase year over year with regards to industrial water usage. So I think there'll be some more commentary about our recent announcement this past week, but water sales were up from industry, and that's good for us. As well as we make a lot of effort to communicate with the citizens on various methods of communication, and one of those that I know we've made a really increased effort is through social media, and there's some good stats on the effectiveness of our outreach program with social media too. So I just welcome everybody to look at that. So, and that concludes my committee report.
Thank you, Councillor Buds. Councillor Dreger, Economic Development.
Thank you, Your Worship. The first item up for discussion this evening is the future of the Youth Career Opportunity Expo. If you've read the report there, you'll see that this Career Expo has been going on since 2001, which is 15 years now, and it was originally introduced to Portage Collegiate Institute just to make the students from grade 8 to 12 aware of the significant employment and career opportunities that are available to them in Portage la Prairie. And the purpose of this was to minimize the perception held by the youth that they must leave their community and secure employment or career development situations. So local businesses were invited to recruit and educate the youth and the public of Portage la Prairie about their companies, requirements to gain employment, and creating awareness of future career opportunities in the community. The Youth Career Opportunity Expo was further open to members of the public who might be unemployed or underemployed, and give them opportunity to also understand what career options were available in Portage la Prairie. In 2012, the city's economic development services moved to a regional model with the creation of PRED, and in recent years the support staff person for that department was reassigned new duties in another department. And with this restructuring, the city no longer has the staff resources to organize the Youth Career Expo, and administration feels that the program may better fit under PRED's economic development portfolio. Informally, administration has approached two community organizations to take the lead in the 2017 Youth Career Expo. Unfortunately, neither of these organizations felt that they were able to take it on at this time. So the recommendation that will be brought forward to Council 2 weeks from now is that the City of Portage la Prairie forego the 2017 Youth Career Expo and discuss its future with PRED once the new executive director is in place. So is there any questions or comments about that? Any discussion?
Councillor Buds?
Yeah, the Youth Career Expo, I understand and I know that it has had its ebbs and flows in terms of its popularity and, quite frankly, its use. I'm just wondering what investigation has been completed with the school division as it relates to the Youth Career Expo and possibly even Red River, prior to us just saying that we won't do it for this year.
Are those the two organizations that you spoke with?
One is Red River and the other one is the Chamber.
Okay.
Because of their expo in March.
Okay.
Yeah, we were hoping that they'd combine it.
Okay.
No vote.
No.
And also Red River was the other institution that we explored with.
Would the school division take the lead, or have you not spoken to them?
Yeah, we
You
have.
have with them as well. Okay.
They're not interested in taking the lead. In fact, they were quite reluctant to move the Career Expo outside of the school.
Okay.
So the Chamber would have been a difficult one for them to negotiate.
That would have been logistically the reasoning, probably.
I suppose moving the kids out to the PCU, although they go there for gym.
Okay. Well, we'll bring that to a vote at next council meeting and take it from there. Just in light of the new executive director, I just did want to mention that he was in town on Thursday of last week, as that was the first meeting of our 2017 PRED first 2017 Pred board meeting, and he did come out just to sort of participate, sit in, just get his feet wet, so to speak. He doesn't actually start until February 15th? 13th, that's correct. And he is very, very eager to start. So this is something that I think he would readily take on under the board's direction in 2017. Definitely have a discussion about it, so we could see that he would take the leadership in with the Youth Career Expo. Okay, if there's no further discussion on that, there's also the building reports for December and essentially all of last year there. If you look at this at the second option there, we'll see that we ended the year with 313 total permits as compared to 360 from last year. But the value on those permits, or the value of the work that took place, was 33 million this year, as opposed to 36 last year. So the values there aren't as far out as the number of permits might indicate. So, are there any questions about those reports? If not, I would just like to also comment on the big announcement that was made last week, and we're all very excited about Roquette building a pea processing plant in the RM of Portage to Prairie. And certainly this has been a collaborative effort with the province, with Roquette, with the city and the RM all together. And it's just really exciting that when you have something that's in the talks for so long, often you get to the point where you go, oh, they chose another location. This time they chose us. So that's been really, really exciting. And it's created quite a buzz in the community, I think, as well. There has to be some spin-offs with that in terms of possibly more shopping coming to town, more restaurants coming to town, and just other opportunities. A big announcement like this is sure to have a domino effect. And just from my chair, I wanted to thank JM and Nettie from the RM, and also our mayor and Reeve Blight for the heavy lifting that they did with this opportunity and just bringing it to completion. So well done. Thank you.
I would just like to add to that list, because a large project, there's lots of credit to go around. And Kelly Braden of our staff and Carly did a tremendous amount of work with that company in terms of answering their questions about water, wastewater, et cetera, the hookups, all those kind of things. Councillor Wayne Wall did a lot of extra on this one. He spent majority of one day with them, and it was after that that they really, really seemed to like us even more. So I don't know what he said, but you know, he knows how to talk wastewater and everything else. So tremendous job. And I want to point out that this deal originally, Douglas Burrell of Pred introduced us to these folks, and then when he left to take employment out west, we didn't have an economic development person. So that task fell to Jean-Marc Nadeau and Nettie Newdorf, in addition to all the other things that we throw at them on a daily and weekly basis. And I have to tell you, many times, I know this fella here burned the midnight oil. I would get emails in the middle of the night on this thing. And there was a tremendous amount of work done by them, our partners with the RM, everything from Reeve Blight ambushing the Premier at a dinner we were at to a lot of other things. The Minister Ralph Eichler and his staff, he had 4 key staff, and they did a tremendous amount to move this thing ahead. So the final credit I want to give is to 4 people that aren't here. This deal would not have been possible if we did not have a tax sharing agreement with the RM, between the RM and the city. And the credit for that goes back a lot of years, and it goes back to 4 people. The Reeve at that time was Jim Knight, and Jim's still alive. Jim lives out in the rural. The mayor at that time was Ian McKenzie, who's no longer here. The CEOs that were involved was Rick Locke, who worked for the RM. Rick has been gone for a year or so now. And the other CEO was Dale Lyle. And those 4 people put together this deal, and prior to this there was a lot of animosity. People worked in competition with each other instead of cooperation, and by working cooperatively, I think this is demonstrated again. that this model absolutely works. I know it's been held up. When we meet with other levels of government, often they will point out the RM of Portage and the City of Portage as an example of what perhaps other municipalities should look at. So, on that note, the Ag Minister tells me this is the largest investment in this type of industry in our province's history. This is $400 million. It'll mean 300 jobs during the construction phase. It'll mean 150 jobs at that plant when it opens. And of course, there's a huge multiplier effect within our community. And we will see that. We've heard buzz in the community. There seems to be more people, how do they say in Act Development, kicking the tires lately?
That's correct.
That's how it goes. Anyway, so if you run into any of those people on the street, just grab them by the hand and shake them for the work they did for our communities. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. You mentioned the previous ED of Pred, and he was one of the first ones to send an email of congratulations to the city and the RM. So I'm sure it was a good day for him as well. I did mention Vern May was out last week, and he is the new director of Pred. And that meeting that we had was held at the Planning District site, where the offices are now finished and ready to move in, and that's where Mr. May will be setting up shop in the middle of February. He has been familiarizing himself already with the existing files and projects that Pred has been working on, and we anticipate a smooth transition from the interim EDs, which are J.M. Nudo and Nettie Newdorf. And we do look forward to what this means for the City of Portage Prairie and for the RM as well. And just one more item of good news, if you can stand another one. Mr. Roy Tufford, who is the chair of the Pred board, and I signed the papers this afternoon to complete the sale of the Pred building. So that is some really good news as well. So.
Good.
And that concludes my report.
Councillor Fraze, Community Services.
Thank you, Worship. It is good news to hear of economic success, and hopefully that carries through and it also improves the community in general. So Community Services Committee has a couple of fourth quarter reports available. Parks report deals mostly with the Manitoba weather as it changes. They've had a very busy couple of weeks clearing snow, and with the weather the way it is now, we're already looking at water drainage and looking forward to mowing the grass soon. In terms of PCRC and their fourth quarter report, a number of different events that have been successfully held by PCRC. Val Garlick is here. Would you like to highlight some of those quickly?
Thanks, Councillor Fraze. I'd like to highlight the partnerships that PCRC was able to continue on with this past quarter. We worked with the Chamber of Commerce to present Mission Possibilities again, a program that had happened a couple of years ago and that we brought back in celebration of their 130th anniversary. And it is so neat to see. We gave 8 individuals $130 and said, make a positive difference in our community. And I always appreciate the creativity of people. There is such a wide range of projects, and it was also so interesting to see how many of those folks took that $130 and multiplied it into really significant givings to a number of our nonprofits in our community, and the difference that made. We also had the opportunity to partner with the RCMP and the school division in presenting a parent awareness evening, and we were unsure in terms of kind of what the turnout might be that evening, but we're really pleased with the number of folks who came out and got some really practical information that was helpful for their families. And then some more fun things. At Halloween, we partnered with Rock and presented a spooky skate at the BDO Center that evening, which, given the weather, if you remember, Halloween was a kind of a cold, wicked night. Coming inside to do some skating turned out to be a really fun evening for lots of kids in our community. So, yeah, that's PCRC if anyone has any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Val. We also have a report from our youth counselor, Councillor Makadensky, sorry, in which she indicates that she's begun some social media kind of activity. Is that correct? Can you comment on how that's, is it working? Are you getting some feedback?
Sure. I mean, more people know my name now, so I think that's helpful. A few people have come up to me in the hallway at school and said, "Hey, you're the counselor." I'm like, "Yeah, I am the counselor." No one's really talked to me about city activities, but like they know that I'm the youth counselor, so we're working on it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great start. That would be all the information I have for tonight, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Fraze. Councillor Wall, Waterworks, please.
Yes, we have fourth quarter reports from the Water Pollution Control Facility. Can you say that really fast? From the water treatment plant and the Waterworks group. I encourage you to review them. There's nothing much more exciting than reading about water and wastewater, as you know. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Councillor Wall. Transportation, Councillor Draycott, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. We do have fourth quarter reports for the engineering department. Looks like they've been going through some strategic planning as well as prepping for pavement contracts and wastewater, water main tender drawings and tenders going forward as well. And then, of course, we have the transportation department as well. They've been very busy in the last quarter. With some good weather, they were able to extend sidewalk repairs and asphalt patching into November, as well as some land drainage jetting and cleaning, which is pretty mandatory for us in order to get rid of this water once everything thaws in the spring. They did also get to continue street sweeping with the warm weather into November. And of course, we did have our DED tender that was taking place by Busy Beaver Services out of Brandon. They won the bid to look after our DED program, as well as other tree removal projects did happen through the end of the fall and into the winter months. It's good to note that the tree removal is taking place when snow removal is not a huge priority, which it has been for the department for the last few months or so. So snow fences were put in place, and there's some significant snow that's fallen in Portage, and so that's taken up a lot of time from the Transportation Committee standpoint as well. And that's all I have to report this evening.
Just need clarification. That contract that went to Busy Beaver and Brandon, that contract's let by the province. Is that correct? That wasn't the city?
That was our contract.
That was our contract? Okay. And how, so they don't do it for the whole province?
No, the province allowed us to look after that.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Good way of putting it.
Nice of them to allow us to look after that.
I know.
Yes. And that is all I have for this evening.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Draycott. And public safety for Councillor Ryan, Espy. Councillor Fraze, please.
Thank you, Worship. There's fourth quarter reports available, full of a lot of numbers, one from the fire department, one from the RCMP, and also by law enforcement. I'd invite Fire Chief Carpenter, who is here, to maybe highlight or comment on his report.
The fourth quarter report is really not too remarkable, we'll say. It was a nice quiet fourth quarter. December was very quiet. Our final report, I'll comment to that, just your wrap up, we'll say, calls were up roughly close to 10%, 50% more calls than we had, or sorry, 10% more calls than we had previous years. We did have a few more structure fires in 2016. A few residential fires. The recycling place had a unfortunate fire there as well. And the other remarkable component to that, to me, would be the our false alarms, fire alarms, and the numbers have increased a bit in the RM. So we'll have to maybe have a discussion with them on what we can do better out there. It's mainly related to Southport, their buildings out there. So we'll look at that and goals to achieve for 2017 to improve on that.
If I could ask a quick question, how is the crew settling into the new station addition?
Very nicely. I guess on that point, definitely our training room, we have a new screen and that we'll be able to really enhance our pub ed prevention programs, in specific with our fire extinguisher training program, so that everybody comes to our nice new training room and we have the live hands-on training extinguisher equipment with that. The room in itself is, again, we'll describe it second to none, just that we're able to walk around trucks now and pull equipment off the trucks and check things out rather than pull equipment out. So we certainly do appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Chief Carpenter. If I could get the public liaison officer whose name slips my mind to just comment on the RCMP report.
Hold on, there we go, right on. Thank you very much for having me. It's Sean O'Keefe. I'm going to talk about that, if that's okay. No. Okay, there we go. So just comparing the quarters from last year to this year, we've had an increase in property crime through mischiefs and break-and-enters. So we've tried to combat that as best we can, of course, including our local media, just putting it out there to keep your vehicles locked, keep your doors locked. I know there's initiatives we're looking at for crime prevention through environmental design. So we're hoping in the warmer months we'll be able to take a better look at that and see if we can't combat that in the coming months as well. Our traffic violations are up from last year, and that's a very good, effective traffic team here in town. They enjoy what they do. And just looking at our collisions, they were up. Unfortunately, I'm going to say that's probably due to our poor weather in the later part of 2016. And of course, using our local media again, just putting the word out there just to drive safe and well, use a sober second thought. So, yeah.
Thank you, Officer O'Keefe. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Fraze. So we've got one final item prior to adjournment. We have question periods, so anybody in the gallery can come up and ask a question of council, and we will endeavor to answer it for you. Are there any questions from the floor this evening? Scott's shaking his head, no. No questions from the gallery? Well, then we are adjourned at 6:43 p.m. Thank you for coming out, everybody.